Hey, Walter Sorrells back with another Pops Project of the Month. Today, making a camp knife. So last month's Pops Project of the Month was a camp hatchet. So this month, why not a camp knife? Now, no BS, I think this might be one of the most powerful, impactful, important videos that I've ever done, really. I've done like 500 videos about knife making over the years, and I think this is going to be right up there at the top with them. Why? Well, I'll be making a camp knife. I mean, so what? Been there, done that. The cool thing here is that I'm going to screw up a lot, but then I'm going to fix it. And in the end, we'll have a great knife. It'll have a cool Hamon, just like a Japanese sword, nice desert ironwood handle, just overall very interesting knife. But we'll have to slash our way through the jungle to get there. But first, today's Pops Project of the Month is, of course, sponsored by Pops Knife Supply. Look, I hear all the time from people who want to make knives, but they're afraid, honestly, of screwing up. Now, I'm here to tell you, I've been forging blades for close to 25 years, and I still routinely screw things up. Now, there's an old saying that the difference between a novice and a master is that the master knows how to fix his mistakes. Yeah, sort of. Of course, masters also don't make as many mistakes as novices do, but there's some truth to it. But what I want to show you is that if you're hesitant to order some stuff from Pops or whatever because maybe you're going to fail, this video is for you. Oh yeah, and this video is also for you if you just want to make an awesome camp knife and you're not worried about it. All right, let's get cracking. Today's knife will be made from this slab of desert ironwood, a couple of Loveless bolts, and my favorite high carbon steel of all time, W2. The steel I make most of my Japanese style blades with. This one, for instance. So first thing, in pretty much every Pops project I've done, I had a design, a plan, a blueprint to start with, but not today. Today is fast and loose day. Today I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants. Now I won't lie, I had a little bit of an idea of where I was going, but there's no outline. I'm literally going to draw it with my grinder. I'll start by doing something I don't generally recommend, which is to use a brand new belt to profile a knife. Why? Well, something very special here. I don't know if I'm the very first knife maker to demonstrate one of these on the interwebs, but I might well be. This 36 grit belt is the latest greatest ceramic offering, the Razor Star from Norton. Now, Norton has been famous for their flagship belt, the Blaze, for years. But this belt has a whole new technology that uses engineered ceramic grains, kind of like little ninja stars, with the points on the majority of the abrasive grains pointed straight out of the belt for maximum abrasive power. Now, that sounds kind of like hype, but you can actually look at the belt and see that this technology is no joke. They're all sticking right out. Anyway, Pops has just gotten them in stock, and they're letting me take one for a ride. And I'm really trying to run it as hard as I possibly can and see how it holds up. So basically I'm just checking as I go to make sure the knife feels right in my hand. Grip's plenty big, blade feels like it'll do some damage to a tree limb or two, so I feel like I'm on the right track. Once I've got the blade profiled, I'll go drill the holes. First, mark them using calipers to get all the distances even. Now the big boys use layout fluid, but look, last month I knocked over a whole bottle. That's what all this blue stuff on my workbench is. So we'll pretend I didn't get another bottle. No layout fluid? No problem. Sharpie to the rescue. Now, I prefer to drill tang holes before grinding the profile, but today, fast and furious, ready, fire, aim, I'm keeping with that using my oldest, weakest drill press and this El Cheapo Chinese drill vise. You can anchor a vise like this by one corner and it'll move around, but it'll also help you drill square, and you never have to worry about your blade helicoptering and chopping up your finger. So, screw up number one. I'm drilling holes for the bolts of these Loveless pins. And guess what? The only drill I've got in the right size for this shank, well, it's kind of worn out, won't bite. How to fix it? Well, I could go to the store, but instead, I'll just drill a slightly smaller hole. Then throw the correct size drill in there. Now, even though it's dull, because the point's the part that dulls quickest, it still is able to open up this hole with ease. Back to the grinder to make the bevels. And the Ninja Star, that's what they call these babies at Pops, the Ninja Star is just eating this thing up. You can feel how hard these abrasives are, almost to the point that it's a little jittery, like a hot rod. This belt is engineered to be operated with a lot of pressure, so I'm really pushing it hard. If you're a really soft, slow grinder, this belt may not be right for you, but if you really get after it, this could be a great belt for your shop. Once I've got the bevels more or less where I want them, I'll jump up to 120 grit ceramics. Most people go 36, 60, maybe even 80, 120. Me, I just jump straight to 120. As long as you have good solid bevels established with reasonable grind lines and you're just about where you want them to be, honestly, I see no reason to piddle around at 60. Hey, let me jump in here to give you a shout out to our sponsor, Pop's Knife Supply, your source for everything in the world of knife making. Now, Pop's just moved a few months back to a huge new location just north of Atlanta. If you haven't been there, you just got to go there. More retail space, more space for steel, for micarta, for wood, antler, belts, abrasives, everything that you need for making knives. And if you're not a knife maker, that's cool. They also have a lot more room for knives. If you love knives, Pop should be a destination for you no matter what. And obviously they'll continue to expand their already huge online inventory of blade making gear and supplies. popsknife.supplies. Now for the fun Japanese stuff. I'll be using this Hamon clay product from Nuclear Systems to lay out the clay. Of course, you can get this stuff from Pops. If you haven't heard about Japanese clay hardening, I'll spare you the long disquisition. I've given it in plenty of my other videos, but basically we're looking to produce a hard edge and a soft, shock-resistant spine, just like a Japanese sword, and perfect for a camp knife that's likely to see a lot of chopping duty. The way it works, where there's clay, the steel will stay soft after heat treatment. Where there's not, it's hard. Function aside, it also allows you to do cool little designs on the steel. You can use a heat gun to dry it faster, and that way you can go into heat treating a little quicker. Handle scales, desert ironwood, a beautiful exotic wood, hard as nails, polishes up great, smells like something that crawled out of a grave when you're grinding, but it's worth it. After slicing them in half, I'll disc grind them. Now, if you've ever used disc grinders, you'll know that even though they're supposed to make things dead flat, they usually don't. See that light shining through the crack? That's a problem. Now, we can go back to the disc grinder and peck away, but believe it or not, hand sanding with a nice fresh 60 grit sandpaper on a piece of glass or a surface plate, something that's super flat, is almost as fast and almost invariably a lot more accurate. Let's fix it. Now we're using Loveless bolts here, named after the famous knife maker Bob Loveless. When you use Loveless bolts, you have to drill and then countersink a hole for the head of the bolt. You'll see how that works in a minute. First, we'll glue the scales together, a little trick Joey from Pop showed me. This is a great technique, but it has some disadvantages, as we'll see. We'll drill the holes using the tang as a sort of drill guide. Now, you need to make sure that the joint where the two halves meet is on plane. That's really easy and not a problem with a material like micarta that's engineered super parallel. But if that center joint is off plane, which is really easy to have happen when you hand cut your scales, and you just drop the scales on your table or your vise or whatever, the holes will get drilled all cockeyed. How would you fix it? Like this, and then you'd start over. So let's just skip making that happen. Now, in theory, we should have nice clean holes, unless this other problem happens that I might mention a little later. Now we'll use this step drill to countersink a hole for the head of the Loveless bolt. I'll set the depth guide on my drill press so that all the holes are to the same depth. So you're leaving about 1/8 of an inch of meat there. You don't want to overshoot, or that head's not going to have anything to bear on. And we're all set. Now, there was a lot going on in this project when you add in all the mistakes, some of them intentional, some not. And if we'd included every mistake that I possibly could have made, it would be 5 hours. But even so, this is a very long video, so I'm going to bust it in half. First half drops today, second half tomorrow. See you in a minute. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe and make sure that you click on that bell so you get notified of all the latest videos. Want to buy a knife from me? Check out my modern blades at tacticsarmory.com. Digging the channel? You can support our video making efforts on Patreon. You know, I've been banging away on these videos for like 10 years, so I hope you'll show some love for all that hard work. Link in the cards and descriptions. Finally, if you're interested in making Japanese swords, check out my full line of Japanese sword videos where I show how to forge Japanese swords as well as how to polish them and how to make fittings, handles, and scabbards. WalterSorrellsBlades.com.